Hello, this is Cotton Stoops, and today's HTUC video is on Dorogo. Since Dorogo got a really huge buff, it is time to finally talk about it. Today's video, we're going to be talking about how to use and counter Dorogo. From the counters and checks and teammates you'll need to know in order to know how to use Dorogo in a battle, and of course the sets, the roles, and the offensive coverage Dorogo will have. Today's video is all about how to use and counter Dorogo. The role that Dorogo plays is an essential question to ask in order to know how to use it, and in order to know how to answer this question, we can answer it with its base stats. Its base stats are pretty simple, with its defenses and HP all being pretty low. Its melee defense in of itself is not really that low, but it is heavily decreased with its HP stat of base 66. There's not much to say about its mid stats, being its melee and range attack all being in the 80 range, as well as its energy. Its energy allows it to get up to 250 with a little bit more investment than most Lumians, but will still get you up there. However, its melee and range attack are still really low. Dorogo is notoriously known for not hitting that hard, however it can hit hard with the new move it got. And finally, its speed tier of 116 is on par with Lumians like Hunder, and will be able to outspeed Lumians like Deldrix base stat wise, which is pretty good for Dorogo. So, what role does Dorogo play? Well, Dorogo is going to be a mixed cleaner. Of course, you can focus on one of those sides of the attack, which we'll be using for the set. And of course, it can be a good lead with moves like Baffle, Poison Barbs, and Provoke. So with that out of the way, let's talk about Dorogo's offensive coverage. Dorogo's offensive coverage will be Ancient and Dark, and you can hit Light, Spirit Plane, Ancient, and Mind types all super effectively, assuming they're all into the singular typing. And 3 resisting types of Metal, Dark, and Bug. Do note that other type combinations will be able to resist your coverage. However, since your coverage is already pretty great, you're not going to be finding most of those Lumians anyway. So with that out of the way, let's talk about Dorogo's offensive set. Dorogo's offensive set will be utilizing its ability Anomaly, so we can get boosts when we use Draco Beam, and we'll utilize our speed tier in order to clean the battle. So, of course, you already know the ideal personality, that being nimble, to outspeed potentially most Lumians in the game. It is important to run nimble, as you can save Dorogo to make it a melee or range attacker later on, and of course will let you outspeed a lot of Lumians and won't let you fear too much about Boots Lumians in the lower speed tiers. And the movesets that you will want to run, Draco Beam and Dark Surge will be your main 2 moves, as these are your stabs. And then you can run other moves like Barbs, Provoke, Poison Barbs, Mud Spatter, and Baffle. Baffle is pretty good, as you can lead Dorogo and pretty much predict anything that will come into the battle other than Eclipse, because Eclipse does resist and is immune to most of your coverage moves aside from Mud Spatter. Poison Barbs is a lot more niche and something I wouldn't recommend. However, Barbs and Provoke are really good solid 2 move combos that you will be able to utilize. You're kind of like a lower speed Gobidemic that can hit hard later in the battle, so you do have that over Gobidemic. And you can run Mud Spatter if you choose to. However, this won't help you too much against most things, as you will already be able to break through Lumians like Pyrolin, who might hit you super effectively, but if you run a certain item like the Clutch plushie, you'll be able to do a bit more. Do note that you'll have to chip these range defense walls. Specialty Boots is a very niche option and one I won't recommend, but if you want to outspeed literally everything in the game, then do that. And Ancient Essence will be able to rack up damage with our Draco Beam and will provide consistent damage that isn't a shell. And finally, the TP's 76 energy will get up to 250 energy. This is pretty nice, as we can utilize our moves very easily, and our range attack and speed is to max it out, and the 24 HP is just leftovers. So with that out of the way, let's talk about Dorogo's offensive counters and checks, as well as its teammates. Dorogo's offensive counters and checks is pretty simple, as you would need to have Lumians that can hit it super effectively or can outspeed it. Boots Ikazune is really good to use against Dorogo, and you can use other Boots users like Deldrix as well. Volcloa, Zulong, Ferroglyph, and Teclipse are all okay options. Teclipse, specifically more bulkier versions that aren't running Foolish, will be able to swap in on most Dorogos as they will be utilizing Draco Beam, and you can hit them back super effectively for 4 times damage. Zulong is also a pretty good option as it does outspeed it, and Ferroglyph also might not be the best, but it is an option along with Volcloa. Just note that you will have to chip Dorogo down, so you guarantee a one-hit KO, as Dorogos will most likely run Clutch Plushies because people think because it has low defenses, Clutch Plushie would be the best item. The defensive counters and checks will mainly be range balls that can sponge the range hits from Draco Meteor, specifically Stratosaur being one of the better ones as apart from Dorogo, it can actually hit Dorogo super effectively with Metal Blast. However, Pyrolin, Venilin, and Setamars are okay options, but do note that you do beat Setamars in a 1v1 with Ancient Essence. You just have to get Setamars a little bit chipped or not chipped at all. And for Venilin and Pyrolin, these guys are a lot more niche as you can run Mud Spatter for them. But overall, once these guys are chipped, Draco Beam will be able to rack up enough damage, assuming you use it on the swap in order to kill these guys. Best way of using and countering Dorogo or checking it is obviously offensive counters. And finally, offensive and defensive teammates. It is very useful to know what you can use because they're pretty much the same thing as Dorogo's offensive counters and checks. You just want stuff to break the range balls. Specifically, Deldrix, Samurai, and Gargolem attack will be pretty great, and Luminami can resist most of your common weaknesses like the light, which is pretty nice, and Tatab as well being a good option as that. Of course, you can use other Lumias like Teclipse, which I should have put on here, and other stuff as well. Do note that you're not limited to these, and of course, leave teammates down below if you do think you have a good option. So unlike Dorogo, I actually look forward to using Dorogo as it does outspeed a lot of things, specifically because it has its Hunter speed tier, which is really good for Dorogo. Not to mention it has other niches and uses outside of Provoke, and compared to Dorogo, it has moves like Poison Barbs, and Baffle, which are really good support moves, especially on a Lumion like Dorogo. It looks pretty okay in OU. However, there are a lot more Lumions who can hit really hard and can threaten Dorogo out. However, in UU, which I suspect it will do really good in UU, I think it's just going to be really well. Simply because Your Snack and Ice School are one of the best Lumions down there, and Dorogo being Dorogo, it can swap and hit those all super effectively. Not to mention that Tank's ability on Your Snack kind of works against it, as Dorogo will basically just get that +1 anyway with Anomaly, which means that Dorogo looks very scary in my opinion down in UU. However, this is just a speculation thing and it will not always be the truth. So yeah, if you found this video entertaining enough to like and subscribe, go do that, as this will support more of my videos. Join the Discord, which will have leaks on future videos and stuff that I will be doing. So yeah, and with that out of the way, Cotton Stoops is signing off to tell you that Zulong is a dumpster fire.